there and vlog it. You know? You see it, it catches your eye, you go out there and you vlog it. Don't be afraid. Kind of reminds me of things of that I always think of that scene in Platoon. You get one of those guys and open. I love the movie Platoon. I'm an Oliver Stone fan. I remember watching Platoon when I was younger. I had this. My mom had this old recliner chair. It wasn't a recliner chair, actually. No, it was a fancy chair, but it was like it had upholstery on it. It was a big wide chair. Think of a chair Santa Claus would sit in. Those big old chairs that have. It's not a recliner, but it's a upholstery chair, like a reading chair. It had a little foot thing on it. It had a little foot thing that you could bring up on it. I think I know this by heart right here. So we don't have to access ways. I've been here enough to know. It's this little guy right here. And I would take that chair. My mom had this chair that was upholstery. It was like almost like carpet upholstery. It had a big high top so I could hear the sound. It had to be perfect. My mom she rented Platoon for me, Oliver Stone's Platoon. And I took the chair and I pulled it up to the TV so that it would echo better. I had no idea who Johnny Depp was. I didn't know any of these actors, William Dafoe. All these guys made a big impact on my life as an actor throughout my life. But I knew this movie, I had to watch it a certain way. So I pulled the chair right up to the screen and turned all the lights down where I was kind of like in the movie. I had to be in the movie. It was amazing. Helicopter swirling. You had these great lines like, one of my lines I like in Platoon is, I don't know about this, Sarge. I don't got a good feeling about this. Now, it's probably not perfect because I need to go back and watch it. But there's some lines in there that are really good lines. There's a character named, is it Elias or something like that? And Barnes, Sergeant Barnes. You don't know what pain is or something like that. He talks about pain. Y'all know what pain is. How mean that character was with Tom Berenger. And of course, Johnny Depp, he played the interpreter, and we didn't know who Johnny Depp was back then. That was before 21 Jump Street, around that time. And then we didn't know that guy was going to be iconic. He only had a few lines. Forrest Whitaker's in it. He's got that one, that one screaming sequence where the thing goes off and he gets hit by the tripwire. Just the emotion behind that. That movie it won Best Picture, and it probably deserved it. Although I'm a Full Metal Jacket fan, but Platoon is nothing to joke around about. It kind of showed what men went through. I like the opening sequence with Charlie Sheen where William Dafoe is stripping him down. He's saying, you don't need this, you don't need that. That's kind of the way Adam the Woo guy in vlogging. That's who he was. I started vlogging quite a bit. I went out and I bought a gimbal. And I saw Adam the Woo and what he was doing. And he was basically saying, you don't need this, you don't need that. He's stripping people down to the bare essentials. Because he doesn't care if it goes like this. Lynch, I don't know what he says about it, but Adam the Woo, he doesn't really care. He gets you down to the bare essentials. And that's what I think about sometimes with vlogging. It's not a war, per se. But you think of things like that, especially a business. It is a little bit kind of like that. You have the defense. You set up things. You don't want to ambush, but, and they had to go out on these ambushes and stuff. A war teaches, I think, a man, for one thing, that the world is a very dangerous place. Okay? The world can be dangerous. This is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, my little Platoon blog. It's dangerous. But, second, there's an enemy. And he's out there. And he's real mean. And he doesn't care. The VC at that time were very cruel. We've heard a lot about them. All the stories from our fathers and their friends. My father was more of a teacher in the military, in the Army. So he taught radar. He didn't have to go. Thank goodness I may not be here. 5 guys would go and one wouldn't come back. Every 5 guys, one would die. 5-1, baby, 5-1. That's what Jim Morrison was singing about. 5-1. But Oliver Stone came back real bitter. He was pretty pissed when he came back. And he got on some drugs and he started writing, and they took him as a screenwriter and took him in. Vloggers don't get really taken in. They come in. The vloggers take it, right? The difference between the two. We're not asking permission. Sometimes we say, "Oh, there's a cool butterfly. I missed it. It just went right over this way." Sometimes we say, "I don't feel so good about this, Sarge." The thing is, though, we continue on, you know. But everyone's got their style of doing it. Sometimes I think, well, you know, maybe no one will ever catch on this. Sometimes I think it could happen tomorrow on when they're going to catch on. But Platoon is a film that you need to go watch. Some of Tom Berenger's best stuff. William Dafoe, brilliant. William Dafoe was in after that. Everyone loved William Dafoe, and they still do. That performance of that soldier was probably one of the best performances of a soldier ever in any war film. He played a character, Elias. It was Elias. His character's name was Elias. And Barnes, there were two different fathers of the Charlie Sheen character, who was telling the story of Oliver Stone's voice. Oliver Stone went to war. He went to Vietnam. He came back and he wrote about it. And Charlie Sheen's representing that filmmaker in his story. It's a little operatic for some people. It's very operatic. You know, they use some old classical music, adagio for strings. And it sweeps you off your feet. Different than Full Metal Jacket. Okay, it's a whole different world. Full Metal Jacket's a different type of reality. But Platoon is a reality film. It's based in a real world. And sometimes I think about movies for inspiration. I remember that character went through. That's why it's so important to be an actor, because you're not only representing a character, but you're helping humanity with everyday things. It's information. It's always going to be based in information. Information age, it's been going on far before Oliver Stone time. For the first movie that ever came out, which was the movie where the railroad train is going towards the audience and everyone in the movie theater runs out, that was information. There was information going on at that moment. Everybody ran out of the movie theater. So I thought the train was going to hit them. I got to go. Anyway, go see Platoon. It's a breakthrough war film. So Spielberg knew I was vlogging. Turning that down there for a minute. So I guess he turned that on 101. Okay, yeah, Indiana Jones. I'm not going to get into Indiana Jones right now, but yeah, it's Harrison Ford's breakthrough thing, I guess. There's no reason to jump around that much. But anyway, like I said, check out Platoon. It's got the adagio for strings moment where William Dafoe brings his hands up in the air, and it's a great helicopter sequence. And who knows, how many people lost, or how many people almost lost their life in that movie. I mean, it was pretty dangerous. Johnny Depp did talk about it. Okay, so this is a witness kind of talking thing. So I was there when Johnny Depp talked about it, and I'll tell you a little bit about what he said. Okay, so Johnny Depp, it was a few hour interview, and I think he talked about his boots. So the first thing that he did when he got Platoon was he got some boots. He got some combat boots, and he walked around everywhere in the combat boots for a long time. They took him out in the Philippines. I think they shot it in the Philippines or in the jungle, wherever. They took him out in the jungle, and they all pretended like they were soldiers, so they would have to sleep in the jungle at night. They would go on guard for real. So Oliver Stone actually trained them just like soldiers. Pretty interesting stuff. They went through boot camp and everything. And Johnny Depp fell asleep. He described it at the actor studio as cop and Z's. That's how he says it. He talks like the folk hero, cop and Z's. That's cop and Z's. You know how he talks. He has that weird folk, Generation X guy. Oh, right. That's a pretty one right there. That's a pretty good one right there. And so his cop and Z's, and someone got up behind him and, did the whole click thing. Click, click, you're dead. And it scared him. And he realized, wow, this is for real. And it kind of scared him a little bit. And they had him a little bit scared. So Oliver Stone scared. Kind of Blair Witch. Blair Witch did the same thing. They put him out there and they scared him in the Blair Witch movie. I think it was called the Blair Witch movie. But anyway, in Platoon, they did the same. They put them out in the jungle and scared them. You can kind of tell. So go back and watch it. The acting is actually superb. And the direction is really intense. It's an intense movie. But that's what he talked. He talked about how they trained them and everything. So it was pretty cool. Backed up traffic right here. Pretty crazed. And this goes back and forth, backed up traffic all the time. The traffic gets kind of crazy. Almost exactly Smoking the Bandit nearly. Well, that scene in Lost Boys where he says, "I can't beat your bike, man." Pretty cool vehicle coming up right here. Smokey the Bandit. This is like a business right here. It's First Class Welding. It's a mechanic shop. We are on Seabourn Road. Kind of gives me that Castaway feeling whenever he goes and finds that chick, because he never knows what the tide will bring in. But this is obviously a bunch of greasy men that are working on probably tractors. But that's a good movie, Castaway. I really think about Castaway a lot when I'm out in the middle of this kind of Gus Van Sant kind of looking thing. This is a really cool donkey right here. You don't see them like that a lot. There's a difference between a donkey and a mule. But I think that is a donkey. We're going to make a left on Robin. Or Robinson, actually. You can see it right here. Yeah, he's got a donkey. He's hanging low right there. Anyway, it's nearly pornographic of that donkey. My goodness, just hanging down like that. I've never seen that before. There's a couple cows out there. That horse was taking a piss too. The farm is real. You go on the farm, those beasts fart. They sit there and snort, and at times they'll kill you. You gotta be careful around wild animals. You know, a little bit, especially like buffalo. One of my school teachers was charged by a buffalo in the middle of the forest or the middle of the field. Try to pet a buffalo. Don't ever do that. You might could a cow, maybe. I wouldn't even really try to pet a cow or a horse. But a buffalo, my goodness. Well, a horse is okay if it's not a wild bronco. But you got to be careful around some of these farm animals. We're about to go by the Denton Cowboy Church again. These people like to go to church and hang out with the militia and eat Whataburger. Talk about how crappy the government is. Look, this guy's got a cross and everything. I dig it. All right, we are in the middle of nowhere, and this is the Meadowlands right here. I gotta turn all the way around. Ponder. All right, probably not too far from Ponder. Hello. I'm not gonna do that one. I want to say probably close to Ponder. It's off of Chestnut. It's one of these weird kind of suburbs in the middle of I guess you could say ranch area, or all the pretty ladies live. Ranch area or something. What do you call this kind of? I guess it's like in the Mesquite. I don't know what you call all this. Farmland, but the suburbs. So you're dealing with like a suburbs. I'm gonna show you how it changes real quick. And Citation is the actual road. That's Citation. Robinson is the road. So you go to Citation, you turn to the left, and you just go down this road. Or, actually, I think I did left last time. Let me just show you. You go down this road, and you're right in the middle of nothing but country. Now, if I go down here and I turn right, I get real lost. Because I've done it before. You got to go all the way around and all this stuff. I might do that again to kind of show you some of this country here. It's real pretty. But I don't remember. I was watching the other show. Yeah. So what I did was last night, I got one of my journals out, and I went ahead and wrote another version of the assassination of John Lennon with Mark David Chapman as kind of a star. I made John Lennon's character more important, and I made it more positive. So I took a Hemingway approach and kind of made it a little multicultural and had a message. I got all the information from source. So all my information was from the source, not from Let Me Take You Down. So I wrote a new play. Now this one they're not going to steal because I'm publishing it right here. So it's not chapter 27, but this one, for anyone that's out there that gets this play, there's no turn on red, okay? If you steal this one, my people are going to sue you. You got away with chapter 27. But this Mark David Chapman play that I wrote last night, I wrote it in one night. If anybody goes out there and does anything with Mark David Chapman, you'll be sued by my people, okay? I'm going to let chapter 27 slide. I'm going to let Jared Leto slide on this one. Mostly because he worked with Matthew McConaughey on Dallas Buyers Club, which I thought was a pretty good performance. How long are they going to keep me here? What am I going to do? All day long? So, I want to let it slide. But maybe if I could work with Jared Leto or maybe Matthew McConaughey or something like that, it'd be helpful on something. I don't know. I do want to use Matthew McConaughey in a heist film. Maybe I could use Jared Leto as one of the robbers, because he's got a pretty bad rep. There we go. Sign says it's okay. So we'll just throw in, I say James Gilbert. Maybe I'll use him. Maybe I'll add a different robber and throw in Jared Leto row too, so that way we have Jared Leto on a motorcycle or something. All right, that'll be fair. So instead of Jared Leto having to pay me back, we'll just throw him on a motorcycle and put him in the heist film later on, because I'm going to outdo Taylor Sheridan in Hell or High Water. Although Hell or High Water is a very good heist film for sure, especially Texas one. But I'm going to try to outdo him, like Michael Bay style kind of stuff. And I'll just get a discount with Jared Leto. So, if he wants a cool $15 million or whatever, maybe I could talk him down to $14 million or something like that. You say, hey, you did chapter 27. Everybody knows I wrote a play about Mark David Chapman. But I did write a new one, and I'm calling it 5 Steps to 5 Shots. So right now it's a working title. I might call it The Assassination of John Lennon, but it's set in like 5 different sections of Mark David Chapman's life. And it also brings in Yoko Ono, brings in John Lennon. It's kind of general in a way, and I wanted to keep it that way, almost political. There's a cool sequence in it that I think is worthy about Mark David Chapman's calendar. And it's kind of a comedy. Holy Snell. Holy snail. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that. So I wrote the new Mark David Chapman play, but it's coming from the source. So the dialogue is actually from the real source, from tape recordings of Mark David Chapman, visual recordings, tape recordings of photographers, lawyers, psychiatrists. Schwartz is in it. All these other characters that dealt with Mark David Chapman, and it's not even that long of a play. Maybe 80 minutes, maybe an hour long.